Property is not always the answer. Now, that might be a surprise to you as somebody who is a buyer's agent to say that, but property is not always the answer. Now, don't get me wrong, I love property. I've used property to build wealth myself. It's worked out phenomenally well for me, and it's a phenomenal way to build your net wealth very quickly. There's not a lot of asset classes out there that allow you to use somebody else's money and multiply that money through investing, like property allows you to do. However, property can have a negative effects if you can't hold on to the property. Let's say you're in a situation where you can't afford the mortgage repayments, or the shortfall between your rental income and the mortgage repayments is just too much for you to handle and you need to sell. Sometimes you can actually lose money by buying that property. So you've probably already heard the saying that the best time to buy property is 20 years ago, the second best time is today. I don't believe that. I just don't think that's actually true. I think the best time to buy property is when you can comfortably afford it and you're not going to go broke by holding that property for the long haul. So if you haven't run your numbers and you're not going to be able to hold on to that property for the long haul, you probably shouldn't be buying that property. Now, when you purchase a property, there's going to be your deposit, you're going to have to pay solicitor's fees, you're going to have to pay stamp duty, and then when you sell the property, you're probably going to have to pay capital gains taxes, seller's fees, solicitor fees, and any other fees that do come up with purchasing and selling the property. So if your property hasn't gone up because you haven't been able to hold it for very long, most likely you're going to, after paying all those fees, you're probably going to be making a loss of buying and selling that property. Australia's tax system doesn't really allow people to make a good solid profit by buying and flipping houses anymore. So it just doesn't always make sense to hold properties for the very short term. So you need to be able to make sure that you can buy and hold those properties without going broke. So the best time to buy a property is when you can comfortably afford it and it's not going to send you broke by holding it for the long haul.